Hey, welcome back, ghouls and goblins. Thank you so much for taking the time to support the channel. March of the Machine is releasing into Magic the Gathering Arena on the 18th. Just a few weeks away. We still have spoilers coming out every single day, and that's exactly what we'll be doing in the video here, discussing the newest cards spoiled within March of the Machine. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel to show that support. Let's get right into it. In our second video, we left off with the War Anthem, which I find to be phenomenal, free-to-play card with an uncommon rarity. And, that seems to be a, reoccurring thing with us, or within this set, is very high-value uncommon battle cards. It's great to see. I love building budget and free-to-play decks for the community. This is how we do it. We're also, while we go through the spoilers here, identifying the best cards of each rarity. Eventually, we'll be putting out our top 10 lists. But before then, we just need to become familiar with all of the cards. So, first up is the Phyrexian Awakening for 3 mana, 2 generic, 1 white as an enchantment. When the Awakening enters the battlefield, incubate 4. So you're going to create a 0/0 Phyrexian artifact with 4 counters on it. And then you can pay 2 to transform it into a creature, which is really quite interesting. And Phyrexians you control will also have vigilance. So, cool, uncommon, weird card. But if you're focusing on that, I don't want to call it an incubate, kind of is, I guess, a mechanic. But, if you're focusing in on that new playstyle within the set, it could be interesting. Phyrexian Censor for 3 mana, 2 generic, 1 white here as well as a Phyrexian Wizard, 3 power, 3 toughness. Each player can't cast spells, each player can't cast more than 1 non-Phyrexian spell each turn. Non-Phyrexian creatures enter the battlefield tapped as a 3/3. So, again, really high value, uncommon. You build a Phyrexian-based deck. Now your opponent can only do one thing. And, you're doing multiple things per turn, right? So if they have no Phyrexians in their deck, you are going to be able to really kind of pull away from the starting line from them here. The Bloated Processor, a 3 mana, 3 power, 2 toughness, 2 generic, 1 black source creature Phyrexian that is a rare. Sacrifice another Phyrexian at instant speed. Put a +1/+1 counter on the Bloated Processor. That's not too shabby, in all honesty. We could sacrifice the incubation tokens. When Bloated Processor dies, incubate X, where X is its power. So it's actually going to create a nice big token there, right? So creating that incubator token with X +1/+1 counters on it, pay 2, transform it into a creature. The Zephyr Singer for 4 mana, 2 generic, double island here as a 3 power, 4 toughness creature, Siren Pirate with convoke, which is crazy. So we can, tap our creatures to add generic. We can tap blue creatures to add blue. Flying Vigilance, which is incredible, non-legendary, so you can stack it. I love the convoke mechanic with vigilance creatures. That allows us to attack and then tap after to gain, kind of basically double value. So we're not actually missing out on our creature value. We still get that as well as being able to utilize it for mana, okay? Flying is a great stat line here as well, and whenever it enters the battlefield, put a flying counter on each of creature that convoked it, which is phenomenal. So, Azorius Vigilance Flyers, it could be a thing. And, I was kind of, I don't want to say begging, but inquiring as to when we would see the Azorius Flyer archetype come back, and I think this is a phenomenal start. Glistening Dawn for 4 mana as a sorcery speed rare, incubating X twice, where X is the number of lands you control. Not too shabby, a little expensive, but, if you're going to be building a deck around the new incubate mechanic, then this could be the card for you. Moving on to our Invasion of Olgrotha for 5 mana as a battle siege uncommon, 5 siege counters on it as it enters, and it will also deal 3 damage to any other target, and we will gain 3 life on that ETB. Transforming into Grandmother Ravi Sengre. Sendry? Oh my lord. 3 power, 3 toughness, human wizard with flying. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, put a +1/+1 counter on the grandmother and gain 1 life. We have the Lithomantic Barrage for 1 sorcery speed uncommon. This spell cannot be countered. We love it. And it's going to deal 1 damage to target creature or planeswalker. It will deal 5 damage instead if that target is white or blue. So this is going to be a really nice way to strike down those Azorius Flyers. And of course, just a phenomenal sideboard card. Corruption of Toashi, 5 mana, an enchantment, uncommon. When it enters the battlefield, incubate 4. Whenever a permanent you control transforms or a permanent enters the battlefield under your control transformed, you may draw a card once each turn. Doesn't seem great, you know? Pretty expensive, doesn't convoke. You can draw cards, though, and that's important and limited. We have the Instructor of Herbology, a true folk druid. It's 1 power, 3 toughness. When it enters the battlefield, gain 3 life. Transform for 7, gain 3 life again. It's going to be a 3/3. And when it transforms, target creature and opponent controls will get -0, -X until end of turn, where X is the power of the ailment. For 4 mana, 3 generic, 1 blue, Abominable Sleep, instant speed with Convoke. Nice. Uncommon, rarity, and tap up to 2 target creatures. Put a stun counter on one of them, and then put a stun counter on another one of them, right? So they can both go on 1 if you want, which is pretty cool. Instant speed as well. So, you know, phenomenal. The fact that you can just shut things down with a Convoke at instant speed, I really, really like. That could even go in that new Azorius Flyers deck we're thinking of with Vigilance, right? Because, you know, tap their Vigilance creatures if they happen to have them. I like that card. I think it's pretty good. A little expensive, but you can Convoke it, so no worries here. Moving on, the Freewheeling Nezumi, 4 mana, another uncommon with Menace as a 3 power, 3 toughness. When it enters the battlefield, each player mills 3 cards. Transform for 6. It's a 5/4 with Menace, and when it transforms, put a target permanent card with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard into the battlefield under your control. That is pretty good. Very nice value for an uncommon. Right? We don't mind that at all. Invasion of Kylum, 4 mana, 5 siege counters on this battle, and when it enters, 2 target creatures each get +2/+0 and gain vigilance and haste until the end of turn. We don't mind it. Transforming into a sorcery, allowing us to create 2 3/2 red and white warrior creature tokens that have whenever this creature and at least 1 other creature token attack. There'll be 2 of them, so they'll they trigger each other. Put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Those tokens are going to grow, and I really like that. Moving on, we have Nahiri's Witchcraft for 3 mana, 1 generic, double red source at sorcery speed, 5 damage to target creature, planeswalker, or battle. Look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the excess damage dealt this way, and you may exile one of those cards, put the rest on the bottom in a random order, and play the exiled card until the end of this turn, which sucks in comparison to the end of next turn, especially as it is sorcery speed and not instant. But whatever, beggars can't be choosers. There's no need to beg with Invasion of Gobakon. 2 mana, 3 siege counters on this battle. When it enters, look at the top. Look at opponent's hand, and you may exile a non-land card from it. And as long as that card remains exiled, its owner may play it. The spell will cost 2 more to cast, so really nice taxation here. Light Shield Array will be the transformed version, which is easy to get to because it only has 3 siege counters. At the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature that attacked this turn. Okay. And finally, you can sacrifice it at instant speed to give our creatures hexproof and indestructible, right? So this is an elite spellbinder ability for 2. You don't get the 3/1 with flying. That's why it's cheaper. But this enchantment is not bad, giving your whole team hexproof and indestructible so they can still get farewelled anyways. What a great time. Stop it, dude. Come on. Next up, we have the Tarkir Dune Shifter for 1 power, 2 toughness. Pay 5, transform it into a 4 power, 3 toughness with trample. A good creature to convoke in limited that you still get, pretty good value in mid-game with the transformation. Moving on, we have the Aetherblade Agent for 2, 1/1 with Death Touch, pay 5, transform it. It's going to be a 3/3 with Death Touch, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player or battle, draw a card. So that's actually really good on the back side of this. Not too shabby whatsoever. Drawing cards is just the way to win games. Moving on, we have the Order of the Mirror for 2 mana as a 2-power, 1 toughness creature, human knight, common. Pay 4, transform it into a 3-power, 3 toughness Phyrexian Knight, and whenever it becomes blocked by a creature, that creature gets -1/-1 until the end of turn. So, actually pretty cool to get through any 1/1s with Death Touch or one toughness creatures with Death Touch. Just get that out of play. Any of the mites, I guess the mites can't block. That won't work. Collective Nightmare is up next for 3 mana, 2 generic, 1 swamp. Instant speed with Convoke. Target creature gets -3/-3 until the end of turn. That's a phenomenal removal card, That's really good. I don't know how much black has Menace, though, so you might have to put it in with white or something, right? Could be a multicolored deck. Next up, we have the Khaneera Spell Spear for 2 mana, 1 generic, 1 red, as a Jackal Warrior, uncommon rarity with Trample and Prowess. Pay 4, transform it. It's 2-power, 2 toughness, and you will get the Gitaxian Spellstalker, which is very interesting. 3-power, 3 toughness, Trample, Ward 2, double Prowess. Prowess. They trigger separately. That is neat. It's an uncommon card too, so everybody really has access to this, and I think that's incredibly powerful. Juru and Hazret for 5 mana, 2 generic, double mountain, single plains as a legendary creature, human god. As long as you have 1 or fewer cards in hand, it will have vigilance and haste. Not too shabby. As a 5-power, 4 toughness creature, whenever it attacks, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may exile a legendary creature, and from among them, put the rest in the bottom in random order, and then until end of turn, you may cast that card without paying its mana value. Ooh. Right? That is not too shabby whatsoever. A little expensive, but that free cast is definitely going to be worth it. It's something that can trigger every turn, and if you're on an empty hand, it has haste. So that's triggering right now. Let's go. This is a phenomenal card, I think. Really, really looking forward to playing with this. Kroxa and Krunos for 5 mana here as well. 3 generic Mardu colors, red, white, and black on the backside as a 6/6 with Vigilance, Menace, and Lifelink as a legendary creature, Elder Giant Dog, woof woof. That stat line's ridiculous. Vigilance, Menace, Lifelink. Is that Urabrask? Is that you? Oh my gosh, right? Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, you may exile 5 cards from your graveyard. When you do, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. What would I return? What creature would I want to return? Oh wait, it is Urabrask. So, the game's going to get absolutely blown apart with this. Buckle up. Rona, Herald of Invasion for 2 mana. 1 generic, 1 blue is a 1-power, 3 toughness legendary creature, human wizard that is rare. And whenever you cast a legendary spell, untap Rona, Herald of Invasion. That's ridiculous. Tap it, draw a card, then discard a card. Okay, we see where this is going. And then we can pay 6 to transform it at sorcery speed into the Tolarian Obliterator. This is a 5-power, 5 toughness legendary creature, Phyrexian wizard with trample. Whenever a source deals damage to Rona, Tolarian Obliterator, that source's controller exiles a card from their hand at random. And if it is a land card, you may put that card into the battlefield under your control. Otherwise, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. So we're talking about not only free casting from our opponent's goodies when they try to interact with it, like a general Obliterator would, but you could target that yourself. Maybe it's a brother. It doesn't have to be single target. It could be a field wipe that you're getting good value from this as well, right? So this is in play. Brotherhood's End wipes up the field, and then you're getting value from this yourself. Coolio. We have the Pickle Fairy, which is just, you know, a phenomenal name. Prickle. There's no R there. It's the Pickle Fairy. 4 mana, 3 generic, a single swamp here. 4 siege counters on this battle. Enters the battlefield. Opponent's going to discard 2 cards. On the back side, the Pickle is a 2/2 with flying in at the beginning of each upkeep. If that player has 2 or fewer cards in their hand, deal 2 damage to them, which isn't bad, right? So if you can keep their hand empty, this is going to, you know, be a really nice clock for you. Because A, it's attacking for 2, and then, you know, B, it's going to deal 2 damage to them, 4 damage a turn. Decent. Not too shabby, right? All of that within an uncommon package as well. The Rampaging Raptor for 4 mana, 2 generic, double mountain creature dinosaur rare as a 4 power, 4 toughness with trample and haste. You can pay 3 to buff it by +2/+0 until the end of turn. And whenever it deals combat damage to an opponent, it's going to deal that much damage to target planeswalker that player controls or battle that player protects. Phenomenal card. I really like to see it. The Blight Reaper Thaliad for 2 mana as a creature fungus uncommon, 2 power, 2 toughness, pay 4, transform it into a 3 power, 3 toughness. Whenever this creature transforms or dies, create a 1/1 Sapperling. It's a Phyrexian too, which all the transform creatures are. So, you know, not bad value for an uncommon. Moving on, we have the Invasion of Theros for 3 mana, 2 generic, 1 plains, battle siege with 4 siege counters on it. And when it enters the battlefield, reveal an aura god or demigod. Reveal it into your hand, and then shuffle. Fairly underwhelming, but Fira, Ever Sheltering, as a 4 power, 4 toughness legendary enchantment creature god, has lifelink and indestructible as long as you control at least 3 other enchantments. Not too shabby. And whenever another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. Yes. Yes. It's pretty good, right? There's that, you know, 3-word phrase that we're in love with, draw a card. For 2 mana, Selesnya colors, 4 siege counters on this battle. When it enters scry 3, reveal the top if it's a land or double-faced card, draw a card. That's pretty good. Scry 3, draw a card. Okay. And then finally, we have the Gargantuan Slabhorn. Slabhorn? Yes. 4 power, 4 toughness, trample, ward 2. Other transform permanents you control will also have that stat line of trample and ward 2. We have the Invasion of New Capenna for 2 mana within Origin of Colors, 1 white, 1 black, 4 siege on this battle. When it enters, you may sacrifice an artifact or creature. When you do, you'll exile target artifact or creature an opponent controls. Then on the backside, Holy Frazzle Cannon as an artifact equipment. Whenever equipped creature attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature, and each creature that shares a type with it, equipped for a measly 1. I mean, it's all right. Not the worst, not the best. Moving on, we have Invasion of Viren for 4, 3 generic, 1 blue. It's a 4 siege battle, and when it enters the battlefield, draw 3, then discard 1. Not the worst. Overload Mage Ring. Overloaded. Pay 1, tap it, sacrifice it, copy spell that we control. Yeah, you know, it is what it is. And that is not great. I mean, you know, if you're running an enchantment deck and, you know, the draw is good. Moving on, we have Invasion of Ixalan for 2 mana. 4 siege counters on this battle. When it enters the battlefield, you're going to look at the top 5. You may reveal a permanent card from among them, put it into your hand, and then the rest in the bottom in random order. Transforming into a 4 power, 3 toughness creature dinosaur with trample, and whenever you cast a spell, it's going to gain indestructible until the end of turn, which is quite nice as well. Holy, here comes the Prater. Urabrask is no joke. For 4 mana, 2 generic, double red source as a 4 power, 4 toughness. Legendary, thank the Lord, which they all are. They're all going to transform into really powerful enchantments and then back to themselves. It has first strike, and whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, it's going to deal 1 damage to target opponent, and you will simultaneously add 1 mana. You can see where this is going. Furthermore, you can pay that mana that you've just added to exile it and transform it to the battlefield under our control at sorcery speed, and only if you have cast 3 or more instant or sorceries this turn. The Great Work will deal 3 damage to target opponent and each creature they control. We create 3 treasure tokens, which we will need to proliferate if we want to do this all together, right? Keep your, what volt charges, I think they're called. The 3 damage any target proliferate. You're going to want to keep that on the side here, ready to use for this proliferate to make those treasures proliferate again, retransform. Let's continue on this show. And then until end of turn, you may cast an instant or sorcery spell from any graveyard. And then if a spell would be put into a graveyard, exile it instead, and then exile and transform, right? Yeah, so yeah, it's a 4/4 with first strike that does damage, adds mana, deals a lightning strike with a Brotherhood's End, you know, plus you're making 3 treasures, and then you're casting from the graveyard, any player's grave. You know, this is just too much to handle. It's going to be good. It's going to be a lot of fun. Moving on, we have the Scorn Blade Berserker for 1 mana, 0 power, 1 toughness. Uncommon human berserker creature with backup 1. If it targets another creature, it gets the stat line, +1/+1. And again, if it's another creature, you can obviously put that +1/+1 on itself. But if we do choose another creature, put a, you know, pay 1, sacrifice it, draw a card. So that's, you know, it's kind of nice to spread that ability out. Not too shabby. We love to draw. Sacrificing could be good as well. It's instant speed and fairly cheap. For 3 mana, we have Invasion of Amonkhet. 1 generic with Dimir colors, 1 blue, 1 black. 4 siege on this battle. When it enters, each player mills 3 cards, and then each opponent discards a card, and then we draw a card. So that's really good. They discard, we draw, you know, each player mills. So hopefully we're taking advantage of that. They're not. And then we have Lazotop Convert. 4 power, 4 toughness as a zombie, and when it enters the battlefield, it will do so as a copy of any creature card in the graveyard, except it's a 4/4 in a zombie in addition to its other types, right? So that's quite cool. Good value. Really nice, cheap, high value, uncommon. Marshal of Zephyr, 2 mana within Azorius colors, 1 white, 1 blue. A creature, human knight, uncommon. 2/2. Other knights you control get +1/+1. We can pay 2, 1 white, 1 blue, tap it, tap target creature. Not too shabby. We really like this card. Rampaging Geoderm for 4 mana, 2 generic. Boros on the backside there, 1 red, 1 green. 3 power, 3 toughness, creature, dinosaur, beast with trample and haste. Whenever you attack, target attacking creature gets +1/+1 until the end of turn. If it's attacking a battle, you're going to put a +1/+1 counter on it instead. So obviously that counter remains. The +1's just till end of turn. Not the worst, not the best. It's there. And I think that is going to bring us to the end of our spoilers today as I refresh, and there is nothing new to go over. So, you know, just getting up to date with the latest and greatest from the set. What was your favorite card? There's a ton of high value material here. I really, really like it. So many battles. And then the single name Enchantment Praters are absolutely ridiculous. So, really looking forward to the new set. And oh man, there's some of these cards are ridiculous, right? Like, dang, dude, I cannot wait. Thank you all so much for watching. Have an absolute magical day. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to support. Check out some other content as well, and we will see you soon in the next.